What is going on, everybody? It's your boy SoFly Trades, and in this video, I'll basically just be going over live what I'm gonna be looking for in this next coming week, what I would be looking for in this next coming week, um, and also going over some live market updates and the earnings calendar. So let's go ahead and get into this here. Give me 1 second. So, what do we have next week? Next week, Monday, not much. We have the Atlanta Fed speaking, but that's not really going to move the market too much. Same thing with the Chicago Fed. So, nothing really too much on Monday. Tuesday, nothing here that's going to, make the market shake per se. Same thing with Wednesday. We have some initial jobless claims on Thursday, which sometimes makes the market move slightly. Not like FOMC, of course, when Jay Powell comes on. Um, Friday, what do we have? Got some core PCI indexes coming out. And Friday, we also have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking, which this is going to move the market crazy. So, some advice from me would be to sit on your hands and wait for anything to pop off. It's a little risky to be in the trade as Jerome Powell is speaking, because it can go either way for you, by a lot. So just wait, see what price action forms, price structure, and trade smart, trade safe during that Friday. Do we have any? Let's look to see if we have any companies that are coming out with anything interesting next week. Do do do. Oh, we got a cannabis company coming out with some earnings. Although I don't trade cannabis stocks, so it really doesn't matter. Just interesting. All this information I find interesting. Right now, I'm scouring through just to see if we have any Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't seem like we have any big earnings coming out. Yeah, nothing too much that I see, at least. But let's go ahead and get into these charts here. So as you can see from Thursday, we had the sell off from these all-time highs here. Um, what I would be looking for is this fair value gap fill to 519, to get in the longs to 520.97 if price action presents itself properly. Or even this 518 would be a pretty good area as far as a pullback is concerned. So that 519, 518 area will be good for longs for me. Also 519 for shorts if we see some selling price action in the morning. But of course you want to go light. You want to go lightly. You don't want to, full port this since we are in a bull market technically. But I think puts would work at these areas. As long as price action is confirming it along with volume. Let's look at QQQ. Okay, let's take off some of this stuff on QQQ here. take some of these levels off so we can see more clearly. This 445 area looks pretty decent for positions to take off of. As price did hold this area slightly, especially in aftermarket, before it kind of sold off, then reclaimed, which is telling me this area is pretty important here. So honestly, on QQQ, what I look for is calls down at 443 or 441, because like I said, that would be, wait a minute, let me just analyze these gaps here. 443 would be a small, if any, of a gap fill. Barely a gap, since we have this wick here, so it's not too much of a gap. Yeah, this area right here looks probably good for a pullback, since we have a fair value gap right there. We have a fair value gap here in the 440 to 439 area. 439 all the way up at least until that 441. We have a fair value gap right there that needs to be filled. So that would be honestly a very good place to take longs in that fair value gap. Unless this misprint, I'm not sure, unless this took out that fair value gap. Now, if this misprint took out that fair value gap, then the fair value gap won't be as liquid. But we'll see. Since it's aftermarket, it probably didn't take all the liquidity. Since you're not able to place trades aftermarket. But yeah, definitely, I look for price action to fall off of here, come down to these 443, sweep these lows right here for movements back to the upside, sweep them, fill the orders, touch this level 443 with selling volume decreasing, as well as increase in buying volume. That's what I'd look for, honestly. Because once again, we're close to these all-time highs, and going long at all-time highs just isn't my cup of tea. Simply because I don't have a price target. I like for price to pull back, show some price structure, and then move to either side, so I can make the best possible decision given the information the market would be giving me. That's really mainly all I'd be looking for. These calls down here at 443. If this doesn't hold, then that 441 area. But if I see a sell-off trend during the day, I do want to go with that trend and take puts, as long as price action is confirming the trend. So say for instance, we kind of like break down here, say for instance, we like break down here, major volume, start, making higher lows, higher highs, but all on lowering volume, just for price to come back down in that sort of fashion. It's not picture perfect, but in that sort of fashion, I'd look for lowering volume on that push up to confirm, okay, buyers aren't really that strong in this area, and I'd wait for price to get to my level to see the reaction off this level, to see if sellers are in this area, and to see if they want to confirm, take price down to the next area of liquidity or demand or supply. Sorry for that. My mic just cut off. Technical difficulties. Um, but yeah, that's mainly all I'd be looking for. Last week was a terrible week to trade. I'm glad I sat on my hands, and took a break. This week I'll still be, taking my break. I'll come back on April the 1st, or, whenever this month is over, this trading month is over. Just because, I noticed that sometimes you have to take a break in order to advance in anything that you want to do. Sometimes, we go so hard at things, we burn ourselves out without even knowing it, and we continue to make misinformed decisions just because we're burnt out, but we want to make something happen. So I find that taking a break is actually helpful. You know, it gives you a chance to reset. You know, gives you a chance to think things through. You know, go over things in a respectable manner that you're not having all these emotions forcing you subconsciously to do certain things. But yeah, other than that, that's really all I'd be looking for. Trading SPY and QQQ. Let's just look at Apple here for the heck of it. Clearly have this level of support right here at 170. So I'd like to draw this in. Might start swinging Apple. When I take Apple trades, I might swing it depending on the day and depending on price action. But yeah, this 170 to 171 area looks pretty good for calls here, at least on Apple. Wow, yeah, it has a ways to go up to 177. That'd be a perfect swing, honestly, in my opinion. But according to my strategy, I needed to come back down here, hold this demand area to take price back to the upside. Yeah, that 177. What is this? 174. This 174 is also a pretty decent area where we've had previous resistance at. Let's mark this in here. Apple might be pretty decent to trade next week, given this price action I'm seeing. Yeah, Apple might be a good play next week. So I encourage you guys to look at Apple. Let's look at Nvidia too. I won't be trading that, but I just like looking at it. It's just so expensive. Yeah, ideally, you know, there wouldn't be anything for me to take on Nvidia. Maybe if price was to come back down to this 867 area, maybe, maybe you could justify longs off of that. But like I said, it's so expensive. It's not even worth the risk, honestly. Unless you're just buying shares and trying to hold for the long term. But even then, like, I want a better pullback. Nvidia is just kind of trailing upwards with no real pullbacks. So this will be an interesting watch next week to see what happens at this 958 area, honestly. Because we could have sellers just sitting there. Let's mark this in. Definitely, we could definitely have sellers just sitting there. But yeah, other than that, I just wanted to give you guys basically the gist of what I'll be looking for, and you guys can look at my levels, copy my levels, whatever you want to do. Um, but yeah, like I always say, trade smart, trade safe. I just wanted to get this video out to you guys, just to update you guys on what I'd be looking for this next week in the economic calendar / earnings. But other than that, I appreciate everybody for tuning in and for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.